Hey, Mom and Dad. I'm shooting you guys a agriculture phase 1, phase 2 update so you guys can understand what's going on. So you can see we have beautiful greenhouse set up, plastics all ready for tomato plants. We're not going to stick them in. They take 30 days to grow really small, and then we're going to pot them up into pots. Well, they will grow to about 14 inches. And then after 2 months, being in a nursery, not even occupying space in these greenhouses, then we'll stick them in here. And then after 30 days, they'll start giving fruit. Reason that we're doing that, when we put them in the ground here too small, that's when the squirrels and the lizards and the whatever eat the little heads off of them. And if you take the heads off of the tomato plants, they die. When they're larger, like 14 inches, after they've been growing in pots for a while, then they don't have so much of an interest in the plants. They're too big already and strong themselves. So that's what's going on here. So phase 1, we're ready. We're ready to plant. We don't have the pots. That's one thing I'm going to have to get from Johnny's. We need to get about 1,000 pots because we're going to be planting like 1,000 plants at a time. Now over here, we have a bunch of worm compost, and they're mixing this in. It's very, very cheap. This stuff is super expensive in the States. This is 100-pound bags, and each bag is $6.50 each. So we're mixing a bag and a half in each of these rows just to kind of reactivate the soil and get some nutrients into the soil, because we haven't done anything here in a while. Now, cucumbers are easier. They don't need to be potted up. They're just 2 weeks in seed trays, and then they go in the ground. And so we'll be putting the cucumbers into seed trays probably at the beginning of next week, like once we know that this work is finished and that we have somewhere definitely to put the cucumbers. So they're mixing in all of the worm compost today. And so one of the phase 2 things that we're doing over here is that we're turning this outside area here into a planting zone for lettuces. As you can see, there's a lot of sun in that greenhouse already, and it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's where we're going to have our tomatoes. There's a lot of shade over here still, so this is a great area, additional area for us to plant lettuce. So we're going to turn this into a lettuce planting zone, cover it with the plastic hoops and the shade cloth and all of that. But a phase 2 project is that I have to build some sort of a cover that will connect to the greenhouse and cover them over for the rains. So all of the phase 2 things that we need to do, I have 6 months to fundraise and to figure it out. So that's an example of a phase 2 thing. Not the planting. We'll plant in this area within the next month or two, just with the shade cloth because there's no rain. But by June 1st, June 15th, I'm going to need to have get a structure to just cover it for the rain. And if we're going down here, you can kind of see an idea of type of structure that we're going to need. It's just going to be something basic. This was the front that we took off of this greenhouse, but just some basic structure, probably for the size. This one's not that big. This one with the plastic and everything is probably going to be like $1,000. And we need the same over here. We need a structure. We can plant lettuces and stuff. This area gets an incredible amount of sun, so it's not too lettuce friendly. So I might switch this from a phase 2 thing, and get the covering from now, so we can basically extend this greenhouse. And out here in front, because the rows are a lot tighter, we would plant a lot of cherry and grape tomatoes, things like that, where, you know, the plants are not so bulky. So yeah, when I'm talking to you guys like phase 1 and phase 2, you kind of understand. So phase 1, we're pretty much done. We're like 95% of the way there. It's the insect netting, because the plants are getting gobbled by insects, by aphids down below. I'll show you guys that in a second. And the pots, to be able to pot up specifically the tomatoes, which is going to be one of our main crops. And then phase 1 would be done. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this entire greenhouse until basically this is unoccupied for 2 months. We're not going to be sticking the tomatoes in for that amount of time, so you shouldn't have a greenhouse be vacant. So we're going to take the covers off the rows, and we're just going to plant tons and tons of greens here for 2 months and just harvest lots and lots and lots of greens. And what's good is that they're not heavy feeders. They don't take a lot from the soil. So you know, we'll be able to put some worm compost in when we're done with the greens, cover them over, and just stick the tomatoes in, and in 2 months. So things are looking really, really good. We're still doing a lot of cleanup. We're going to put some rock down here on the ground, like once we're all done. Still got some cleanup and stuff to do, but things are happening really, really well.